First, I just want to acknowledge my wife and how much I admire her. You know, like I am her life witness, so I get to see all of it. I get to see the good, the bad, you know, all of it. I've seen her without makeup a few times. And how you do something is how you do everything. So the way that she is in business is the way she is as a mother. It's the way she is as a baker and a cook. And when she does, you know, help the kids with their science fair projects and stuff like that. It really is, she's just excellent at doing a lot of things. She's very, focused on achievement and excellence and very thorough. Her secret is not really in that. Her secret to success is not really in that. I'll just pull the curtain back and I'll tell you what her secret is, because it's actually nothing that special. It's that she is more willing to look dumb than her competition. That's really what it is. She is willing to put herself out there and look dumber than everyone else.
On this episode of the CEO Glow Show, I am giving my husband the mic. A lot of you guys who have partners or spouses or boyfriends or whatever, significant others in this entrepreneurial journey, it is very challenging. And so my husband does a relationship talk at the Beauty Business Mastermind, which, by the way, you need to check out. It's one of my favorite things that I do all year. It is 30 business owners in one room, all locked in arms, cheering each other on. And what I like to say is that the experience is filled with a lot of strategy coated with love. So you definitely need to check out the Beauty Business Mastermind. It's so easy. Just send me a direct message on Instagram
at @RealSheilaBella,
the word mastermind, and I'll send you more information. But for now, I wanted to share this talk that my husband did, all about how to handle entrepreneurial relationships. And it's very raw and real, all about the mistakes we've made, the lessons we've learned, and the ups and downs and disagreements we had getting to this place of unity, being married to an entrepreneur. And now he's an entrepreneur too. And so we'll even dive into that. Hope you enjoy this episode. And if you do, let me know.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about entrepreneurial relationships, but it's really wonderful to see you all. It's really awesome to do this in our home. We've done masterminds over the years at hotels, different places, but like to have it in our home here, it feels a little bit like closer, more intimate, and that's really, really great. Firstly, I just want to ask, like, how many, just like kind of take a poll, like how many of you have a very supportive partner at home that's just like ride or die for your dreams when it comes to like your beauty business? Can you just, so I can get a gauge of this? Oh, that's awesome.
I wish.
Okay, that's my next question. Yeah, how many of you are in the camp of I wish that's something that I'm looking for? Yeah, okay. So that's basically what I'm going to be here for. That's what I'm going to be discussing today. You know, men are simple. We really are. There's not a whole lot to us. We're pretty simple. But there's strange things to navigate when you're in a relationship with an entrepreneurial woman or a person who is in the beauty industry or just an entrepreneur, honestly, at all. It's a very different thing if you're not from that world, which I am not from that world. So part of it is it's a hard life. And when you love someone, you don't want them to have a hard life. So when they go down the road of like, I want to have this really hard life, you're like, well, don't do that. Why would you do that? You want to steer them away from that sometimes because it's so difficult. It's like, go get a W-2, go get a job. You're so talented. You know, look at my wife. I'm like, oh, she's so talented. She could do so many things. Why are you doing this very difficult adventure and journey of being an entrepreneur? So what I'm going to be doing is trying to help you to understand men, but also just like how to get your partner on board with your dreams a little bit more. And it's really cool to see that you have that. But if you go out and you do training or you start mentoring people, because I'm guessing that you're going to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger. That's why you're here. You're not thinking small, you're thinking big. So as you do that, you're going to be mentoring people. People are going to be apprenticing under you. And to give them some advice for when it comes to their relationships, because relationships are very important to us, obviously. Maybe this can help you. That's the idea. But I firstly just want to acknowledge my wife and how much I admire her. You know, like I am her life witness, so I get to see all of it. I get to see the good, the bad, you know, all of it. I've seen her without makeup a few times. And how you do something is how you do everything. So the way that she is in business is the way she is as a mother. It's the way she is as a baker and a cook. And when she does, you know, help the kids with their science fair projects and stuff like that. It really is, she's just excellent at doing a lot of things. She's very, focused on achievement and excellence and very thorough. Her secret is not really in that. Her secret to success is not really in that. I'll just pull the curtain back and I'll tell you what her secret is, because it's actually nothing that special. It's that she is more willing to look dumb than her competition. That's really what it is. She is willing to put herself out there and look dumber than everyone else. And we say, like, we have imposter syndrome or something like that. I don't know if you've ever experienced imposter syndrome. It's like, oh, who am I to be in this position? Or who am I to tell people? A lot of that is just ego. A lot of that is just you're like, oh, I don't want to look a certain way. I don't want to look bad. I don't want to look dumb. And you have to be willing to put yourself out there. And I've watched her put herself out there over and over and over again. We're at like a Starbucks and she'll just start talking to someone about her business or about this person's business and just so people are right there kind of rolling their eyes at my wife. And what she does that's really important is she sees the big picture. She knows that that person who's at Starbucks, I'm not going to see that person in 5 minutes for the rest of my life. But what I can do for this woman that is struggling with her nail salon can change her life. She sees the big picture. So I'll sacrifice my ego right now in this moment for the potential future for what this means for that person. And I think that's something that we can all try to adopt for ourselves, is just say it sounds so cliche to say don't care about what people think, but we do. So what you can try to do is look at the big picture of it's like all the self-help gurus talk about, think about what you want most compared to what you want now or something, delayed gratification stuff. And there really is an element of that to my wife that I think that is what kind of rubs off on you, I hope, is that's a big thing that's capable, all of us are capable of that. It's just like, I'm going to put myself out there, and if people roll their eyes or people say bad things about me online or in person or whatever, I know why I'm here, I know what I'm doing, I know who I am, and standing firm in that is a really big thing that I just admire tremendously about my wife, and I think it's one of the things that makes her actually very, very unique among all the people that I've met before. So a little bit about our story, our backstory, is we met on online dating. It was a free site called Plenty of Fish, and I DM'd you. So, is that still around? Yes. We were like right before the what's the big one? The Tinder. Yeah, it was right before Tinder. We met in 2010, and I saw like a graphic that talked about how people meet. It's like they meet at the grocery store, they meet at work, and then in 2010 it was like online was here, and then it just spiked. So we were right at the cusp of it. And I was embarrassed about saying I met a girl online, so I lied about it. I think it came up at our wedding or something like that. But we met online dating. I just thought she was hot, so I was like, okay, let's go. This will be a fun Thursday night, or I think it was a Thursday night date. So little did I know it would be like the mother of my 3 children and my soulmate and everything like that. But that's how we met. But she hates when I say this. We are very different. We're from very different cultures, very different backgrounds. Our core beliefs are very similar. Okay. But we're very different in a lot of ways, but that was so intriguing to me. It was like, oh, this is something that I haven't really experienced before. And when she met me, because again, we're a little bit different, I'm like a white guy. So I'm from like a Northeast, very upper middle class, Northeast family in Pennsylvania. She's Filipino immigrant in LA, very LA. And she came into my family, and my family tree is ridiculous. My 23andMe, it's I'm like a pedigree. Yeah, I'm 99.6% German and 0.4% Irish. I'm like a purebred. I'm like everyone in my family tree is just white, and they're college educated, and they're this one kind of thing. And then, yeah, there you go. And then I bring this girl into the family, and they're just like, what is this? This is crazy. And she had elements of imposter syndrome to some degree, where she was an aspiring actress and teaching voice lessons and kind of just figuring out her way, still living at her parents' house. And she was like, all right, I got to become legitimate. How do I become legitimate? Well, you got to go after the Benjis. So she was like, I got to make some money. How am I going to do that? I'm going to start tattooing people's faces. Like, what? You're gonna tattoo people's faces? That's insane. All right, whatever. I trust you. It's all good. Go do your thing. So she started getting into permanent makeup. She thought, she's like, permanent makeup is a lot of old ladies and it's not really cool. I think I could kind of make it cool. No, she's cool. She's like, I think I can kind of make this cool. So she started to make it cool, and she started it because she thought it would kind of like legitimize her a little bit, I think, to some degree in my family. Is like, you know, if I'm a business owner and stuff like that, I'll be taken seriously. So she started her business. And at the time, I was teaching in East LA, just like day in and day out. 48 kids in the class. Like it was a tough spot. I had 17-year-old mothers of 3 and kids, you know, who were involved in gangs. And like every day I was going in, just like trying not to get stabbed. And then I come home and I would say like, hey babe, like how'd your day go? And she would say, oh my gosh, it was such a productive day. It was such a great day. So I'd leave in the morning and she'd be at her computer. And then I'd get back and she'd be at the computer, same spot. She's like, I got so much done today. Tell me. She's like, check this out. And it was just a banner that said like Sheila Bella permanent makeup. That's it. Just like it was before Squarespace, it was before Bellavate, it was before like all of that kind of stuff. So she had to like learn how to code. So she was learning how to code in our little 1-bedroom apartment by herself, and she was just grinding. She would do like the voicemail for her salon, and she would go into my closet and put a big blanket over her head and be like, do you have college? She puts on like YouTube, like spa music, like, you have reached Sheila Bella permanent makeup. And she would like change her voice and stuff like that. I was like, oh, this is really interesting. Like she was really working hard and grinding. And I didn't understand it. I'm not an aesthetics guy, you know, like I'm like t-shirt and jeans, and she bought this shirt. So I didn't understand the idea of tattooing eyebrows. I was like, you're so talented. Why don't you go out and start a nonprofit and help feed the homeless or something like that? And what really changed me was, look, I didn't understand it, but you do. Those of you in aesthetics, you understand it. And what happened was I was brought into her world a little bit. I saw the way that beauty mattered to people. You know, I was really judgmental about like what, and my whole family is kind of like that. You know, I don't know if anyone's from like the East Coast. It's like a different thing. And it was like, if you care about the way you look, you have to like, everyone cares about the way you look, of course, but you have to downplay it. Like the way, like the beauty, like standards, you have to like look a certain way, but you can't look over the top. And it's very weird. There's like unwritten rules about that. And she brought me in and I saw the way that beauty changed people. I watched the way that they walked into her salon and then the way they walked out. Like I watched how it actually matters. The way they carried themselves was different. Their posture was different. The way that they handled themselves in the world was different. And that started to open me up. And then also, she reached out to people, and people reached out to her, and the way Sheila is, which is like very fitting because you're like in our home. It's like sitting at our table that we, you know, have dinner with the kids every night and stuff like that. Like, this is the way she is. She just gathers people. And her friend named Jen, who had a child, and she was going through postpartum depression. And she's like, I don't have a community. I have nowhere to go. She was like, come work at Sheila Bella Permanent Makeup. Come on. She's like, I don't know how to. It's like, I'll teach you. It's all good. She comes in and she learns how to do permanent makeup. And a couple of weeks later, we were out somewhere, and her husband came up to me, and he was like, I just got to tell you, like, working at Sheila Bella changed my wife's life. Like, she is just better now. She's up. She's happy. I hadn't seen her smile in so long. She just has this like sisterhood, and that's what Sheila does, and that's what she's doing here. You know, I teach high school. Like, I've seen Mean Girls. It's pretty accurate. Like the way that girls treat each other at every age, whether you're 14 years old or you're 54 years old, it gets catty. It gets nasty, and what Sheila stands for is the opposite of that. It really is. It really is like there's plenty to go around. You get more bees with honey than vinegar. Like it very much is a welcoming, bringing in kind of vibe that she's now expanding to as many people as possible. And I watched that happen in real time. She did something in 2017, which was National Alopecia. She had like a National Alopecia Day where she brought women in who had alopecia where their hair fell out. And they would talk about, I can wear wigs, but when my eyebrows fall out, like kids look at me like I'm a monster and things. So she gave them free permanent makeup. And watching the women like like the tears streaming down their face, talking about how they felt beautiful for the first time in years, or women who were going back for their high school reunion and they wanted to just show the guy that was mean to them, and then they just carried themselves differently. Like, it changed it for me. it changed the idea of what beauty can do. And I think that in my world is like, I'm in like academics and it's like a little snooty and snobby and stuff. I think sometimes they look at people in the beauty industry, they look down their noses like, oh, what you do doesn't matter. Or what you do isn't important. And I had elements of that too. And you know, because these people are in your chair. These are the people that you're talking to all the time. You know the change that happens in them and you know how real it is. And I needed to be brought into that because I just didn't know. I didn't spend a lot of time in a permanent makeup chair. You know, I just like look for the little spinning thing. That's the place to get my hair cut. Like I didn't think about that kind of stuff, so I didn't know. But the amount of like, it's like cancer patients too. It's like people who are going through that kind of stuff. But it's also just people who their whole life they never felt beautiful. They never felt like they belonged. And you can give them a little bit of that. That really matters because some people are just dealt a better hand, you know, in athletics. Some people are just born and they're, you know, like Saquon Barkley or something like that. And some people aren't, you know, like Alicia Keys is like, I'm doing a no makeup month. It's like, yeah, well, look at you. Of course, like that's not that noble of you. You look gorgeous all the time. Like, congratulations. But not everyone is dealt that hand. And then they feel bad because when they go no makeup, they don't get the same praise and things like that. So I think it's really important to recognize that what you do matters. And I see that now, but a lot of people don't. But having confidence that you know who you are and you know what you do. Part of what you need is a supportive circle. Okay, like it's crucial to have supportive people around you because entrepreneurial ventures, entrepreneurship is so difficult. So if you're surrounded by people who are W-2 employees, they just don't understand. They really don't. I was trying to explain it to a friend of mine actually this morning, and I was like, it's kind of like being a Cocker Spaniel, and you just get like kibble. So you work at a corporate job, and you do your thing, and you just kind of like, you know, do the bare minimum, and they give you the kibble. Where entrepreneurship is like, you got to go hunt rabbits. It's like, I don't even know how to hunt rabbits. I don't have the first thing about how to do that. Like, I'm a Cocker Spaniel, I'm not a wolf. It's like, you got to tap into that wolf element of you, and that's something that people who don't do that and have never done that might not ever understand. And that could be your partner. So again, part of what your job needs to be is bring them into what your daily struggle and what your daily vibe is because you're out there hunting. So if you have the right people around you, you're not going to feel alone. Okay, they might not really get it, but you can bring them in enough that they can empathize with you and they can be on your team and be there for you when you need it because you're going to have down days. Sales go up, sales go down. Crazy things happen, fires happen, you got to put them out. You know, employees screw you over and over and over again. There's so many things. There's lawsuits. There's all kinds of stuff that can happen in the business world when you're out there hunting rabbits. But if you just want to stay and have kibble, you can do that. But that's not you. That's not you. You don't want to have kibble. Like, you want to have something better. You have a vision for what you want for your life that's more than the bare minimum. And that's very difficult. So you have to surround yourself with people that understand it. So I think it's important to frame entrepreneurship for your partner. The wrong person is going to discourage you. They're going to call your dreams small. They're going to say that it's like cute or a hobby. Like, oh, she has this nail salon. Oh, isn't that cute? Yeah, oh yeah. It's like, I got her, but she has this little thing on the side. Like, no, you're not in this for a hobby. You wouldn't be here if you're just trying to make this like, oh, it's just like fun. It's like, I don't really need the money. I don't really need like anything. It's just something for me to do to pass the time. Like, no, your partner needs to understand that this is your life. This is something that you are going to invest in, that you have big dreams. And the wrong partner is going to minimize you. And you have to be big. You have to be bold. That's part of sales. That's part of believing in yourself. And it's really hard when you have a partner that keeps pulling you down when you're trying to rise up. So you have to recognize this kind of language matters. What they say matters, and express to them that that's not something that you need right now. You need something different. So even if they don't understand it, there are things that they can do. So even though I didn't understand the aesthetics world, there was stuff that I could do to kind of help her. So one time our studio got robbed. So I went in, I got the video from the surveillance camera and went down to the North Hollywood police station, and they're like, wait, what happened? I was like, our studio got robbed. How many people died? I was like, no one died. They're just like, oh no, just go to a pawn shop or something. You're like, no, this is LAPD. We're not dealing with that. But you have your partner fill in where they can, even if they don't get it. we had a woman who was in a domestic violence situation, and she was, really scared and everything. So we had to get her out of her house, and she was like, can you come with me? Yeah, she was one of your employees, and she's like, I was like, okay, I'll go and try and help her out of this situation. Little things like that, make a difference. So she knew that I was on board, even though I didn't really always understand. There's still things that your partner can do to help you through that process. What happens when your partner doesn't understand is you get into conflict. You start disagreeing about various things. So one of the things that happened was we were probably like 2015. I think Bo, our oldest, was like a year old, and we were going to do a photo shoot. So she's like, I want to take family pictures. I was like, all right, fine. So I get home, and there's like these like new outfits laid out for the pictures. I was like, okay. And then she's like, okay, so we're gonna meet the photographer at this point, at this location, like at this time. And I was like, photographer? Like I thought we were just gonna set up the camera and take a picture. She's like, no, we have to do a brand shoot. I was like, brand shoot? What's a brand shoot? I don't know what this stuff is. Like a brand shoot. So we got into a big fight because I am not like, I'm not like put it out there for a brand shoot type of guy. And she was just like, just do this for me, please, just do this for me, just do this for me. And I was like, no. And what was happening is she didn't explain to me what it really meant. We were younger, it was 10 years ago. And she just said, do this for me. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that for you. And it just ended up being a conflict. And we had like the pictures around here somewhere. I was like, ooh, that was a big fight. I remember that day. And what happened then, we talked about it. And I was like, you get one brand shoot a year. And I like put my foot down. And then she was like, okay, fine. So unnecessarily stressful. But the reason, and what I'm here to explain to you is like, she didn't communicate it well enough. She didn't communicate what it meant to her enough. And I wasn't able to communicate why I was uncomfortable with it enough. So communication is really, really important. And the truth is I was scared myself. I was worried about looking foolish. I was worried one of my friends would see me at like in this brand shoot and what that would mean. I'm like a dude and we didn't communicate that enough. So I think that's really important. If your partner is your co-pilot, you have to bring them in. So over time, the business was up, and then it was down, then it was up, and then it was down, and then it was up. And as it was growing, when it got lower, it was before COVID, it was probably like 2018, 2017 or something. There was like a downturn in the business, and I forget exactly what it was. There was a couple of things. There was like some employee issues. I don't remember what it was. I don't know. Something with Beverly Hills. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I was like, babe, you're so talented. Just get out of this. What are you doing? What are you doing? This is so hard. This roller coaster is so crazy. What are you doing? You should get out. And we were in therapy at the time, and I was like talking. I was like, what is she could just go to the Cadillac dealership, be the like top salesperson at Cadillac in Southern California in like a month. Why are you doing this? And she looked at me and she was like, oh, you still don't get it? We've been married for like 9 years or something, 7 years. Like, you still don't get it. No, this is the life. This is the life. This is what we do, and we're going to be in this for good. And at that moment, I turned a corner, and I was like, you know what? I got to either get onto this rocket ship or we're not going to vibe, because you can't be with a partner that's going in one direction and you're going the other direction. So I had to get on board all the way. And when I made that decision, then it became her kind of pulling me along to me being right there with her with my hand on her back, kind of pushing us forward. And that's when things really changed for the business. And I think it was like 2017, 2018. So her salon grew, and then it was shut down during COVID, and then the marketing business grew with PRB and everything like that. But she had to get me on board. And I think that unfortunately it kind of came down to this like almost like situation. We were in conflict and we didn't really see each other eye to eye. But there's things that you can do to bring people on board. So part of it was I am not in sales. I didn't think about sales. And I kind of always thought like sales was sleazy. It kind of has that stigma attached to it that sales is sleazy. I mean, I teach like history to 16-year-olds. So if I try and convince them why they should learn about the War of 1812, which no one cares about, they know when it happened, but that's about it. Like, I have to sell them on that. So when you clarify what sales is, then your partner can start to understand that. So sales sounds corny, but sales is just serving. Sales is just explaining things. The question is like, do you believe in your product? Yes. Do you believe that it's a good product at a good price? Yeah. Okay, well then, don't you have an obligation to get people on board with your good product on your good price? And explaining to someone who doesn't understand sales in those kinds of terms, I think really helps. But again, bringing people in, social psychologist Jonathan Haidt says the human brain is a story processor, not a logic processor. So what you need to do is bring people into stories. So Sheila really loved Beyonce. When did Lemonade come out? 2019 maybe? 2017, something like that. She loved Beyonce, loved Beyonce. So, went to the concerts and sat front row and I was just like, I don't listen to Beyonce. She loved Beyonce. So what I did is I said, you know what? I don't get Beyonce. Not my type of music. I'm not liking it, but she loves it. So what I did was I got really into Beyonce. So I started listening to all of her albums, and I was in my car by myself, just bumping Beyonce. I was like, this is a great song. Okay. And then eventually I started to like Beyonce because, she's talented. So I was like, okay, I get it now. But I had this thing of I wanted to get to know what she loved because I want to get to know her better. And if I get to know what she loves more, then I get to know her more. And I think that if your partner doesn't understand, or one of your friends, someone in your circle, their partner's just not on board, you have to explain to them, do they love you? Yes. Is this a big part of you, your business? Oh, it's huge. Okay, so bring them into that because they actually want to get to know you really deeply. And if this is a part of you that's really, intrinsic to who you are, then you want to bring them in on that. And the same thing happened with her. I like martial arts and jiu-jitsu and boxing and stuff like that. And she doesn't like that stuff. But then fast forward a couple years and we go to a UFC fight or we're watching it on TV and she's like, yes, kill him, grab his head off. She gets really into it. She goes to our kids do jiu-jitsu and she goes to the tournament, break his arm. You get into the things that your partner's into. So you bring them into your world a little bit with that kind of stuff. But, something to think about is relationship with men. Men want to be your knight in shining armor. They want to be the hero of your story. Not even their own. They want to be the hero of your story. So what you want to do in these situations of bringing them on board is give them opportunities to be your hero. Oh my gosh, the toilet's clogged at the studio. What am I going to do? So he can be like, dun, da, 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 I will snake it out, or whatever it is. You want to give him opportunities to do that. What?
Matt has just been introducing himself as Superman, saving the day.
Of course, he wants to do it. Guys want that. It's deep in us. Yes.
He doesn't know anything.
Yeah. The opportunities to fix what needs to get fixed, or an emotional rock when this lady was so mean to me. It's come here, baby, I got you. Guys want that. Your partner wants that. He wants to be the hero of your life. So give him opportunities to do that. Okay? That's what you do. Baby, I really need you here for this. That triggers something in our minds oh, okay, yeah, then I'll do it. I'll be there. I'll be that person for you. That's how you get them on board too, is you give them opportunities to help you. Because it can be a little weird. I've gotten it a lot. From friends, how do you feel that your wife makes more money than you, and how do you feel that she's the boss and does all these things for a company? And it's well, I know my role. I know what I do. I know what I bring to the table. She does this thing and I do this thing, but I know that my role is really important in her life. It's not an insignificant role. If I go away tomorrow, things don't go well. So for a lot of men, that can stress. So in those situations, lean on your partner. Give him opportunities to step up, or her. Give them opportunities to step up and be that person for you. You deserve to. Something. Sheila actually gets upset with me sometimes. She just says, because I say stuff about friends of ours. I'm oh, that girl's really great. She deserves to have a really good dude. And Sheila, what do you say? No, she doesn't. No.
You have to do hard things to get good things. She didn't do anything. She's too scared to leave. She's too scared to date. So people don't just get things and they just deserve it.
Yeah, the courage to go get what you want. You end up getting the life that you settle for. So this idea that you just deserve to have this great supporting partner, no, you got to put yourself out there. You got to do things to bring them on board. And, giving them the opportunity to be your hero is part of that. And what your job is to do the work that you need to do to get them on board. You know, it really is an incredible adventure to be, you know, on the ride of entrepreneurship. It really is. It's a very different thing. It's not everyone's built for it. But if you have a partner that's on board with you, having a co-pilot that's really there, ride or die, believes in your dreams, shares your dreams, like, here's where I see this going. I see this kind of thing for our family. I see these kinds of vacations. I see this, doing this for my, you know, there's been so many people, like these, like success stories are so crazy from the stuff that Sheila's been doing with people over the years. Like, you know, people who, you know, I can finally pay off my mom's house, or, you know, care for my dad who has dementia and get him full-time care. Like, it's really, really powerful. And that's the stuff that now it's like, how could I ever tell you to do anything else? Because I see that kind of stuff, but I had to be brought into that. So bring your partner into the big vision, the big picture. If you're thinking big, which I'm guessing you are, if you're thinking big, you have to bring them on board. Because they might just see it as a nail salon. They might just see it as you're doing nails, you're doing makeup, you're just putting eyebrows on people. It's not that big of a deal, but it's bigger than that for you. So bringing your partner along for that ride, show them that story, tell them that story, and then tell them what their role in that story is. I need you to be this. I need you to be this. I don't want you. I need you here. Guys want to hear that. They want to be a big part of this, even if they have their own thing, even if they have their own job or their own career or anything like that. They really want to be your heroes still. So paint them the picture of what your vision is. Know what your vision is. Know what you want to do. And then paint that for them and say, and here's your role. Here's my whole fairy tale of what I want to do with my life and with this business. And then here's your role as the knight in shining armor. Here's how you are going to make that possible. And then they see that they're invested in this and they can save the damsel in distress. As like cliche as that sounds, I know you're like strong, empowered people, but there is something nice about being, you know, protected too. And there's something really nice about the men in your lives who are going to do that protecting and giving them opportunities to do that, because it's going to be hard sometimes and they're going to be there. And it's going to be awesome sometimes. You want to have someone there to celebrate and who saw you from the down times up to the good times. That's what's been really cool, is like these like crazy swings of you know, employees who did crazy stuff, or COVID when it shut down our businesses. Like, I watched those moments. I watched the moments of her crying and being like, what are we going to do? And then the moments of like, oh my gosh, can you believe that we're moving here and we're doing this kind of stuff? We can do this for the kids. Like, going along for that. The roller coaster of life is really, really awesome. And it's always more fun to be on a roller coaster with someone who you love next to you. So if you're going to go on this roller coaster of entrepreneurship, have someone next to you to go through that with. So I just wanted to talk about that and like a little bit about our journey and everything like that. But I also want to open it up because I have been here since before she even started, Sheila Bella.
That's it for today's episode of the CEO Glow Show. Before you leave, check out this episode right here. If you're struggling with confidence, you have to check out this video. Entrepreneurship is such an emotional roller coaster. And if you ever struggle with imposter syndrome or confidence, I get very raw and real here, so check it out. See you next time.